this channel and for watching. Of Mama's on the breadline, Daddy's in the headlines. Gonna do some hard time, won't get caught the next time. Get sacked if you come late, starting with a fresh slate. Coming in the back gate, nothing's ever worth the wait. You want to be a poor man? Get yourself a good plan. Get yourself a good band, then you'll know the score, man. Buy yourself a big house, speculate your way out. Letters after your name, underneath you're just the same. Consumer education, high rises and inflation. Change your inclination for a better situation. Want a happy ending? Better let your friend in. Gotta stop pretending. Nothing's worth defending. Jan's become a minister. Don't you find that sinister? Don't you turn your back on her, unless you can convince her. Keep out on the same course. Watch out for the police force. Your name's on the computer. Ma says that don't suit her. Checking on your profile, making up your own style. Jan says fine, but all the while the church is being defiled. Moderate your secrecy, give in to indecency. Hide with your complacency, you know it's just mimicry. I heard Jan complaining, church roof lets the rain in. I just say the same thing, don't ring 'cause I ain't in. Authorities in crisis, people ought to try this. Banks have got your mortgage. Don't care how you're gonna live. Coming home for weekends, living off your best friend. She says that it all depends on where you wind up in the end. Jan became a missionary, said she was a visionary, telling tales of destiny. Everyone's an enemy. Taken off the payroll on the bosses say so. Better not walk too slow. People there in plain clothes. Conducting your own defense. Everything is an offense. No one cares how hard you try, as long as you've an alibi. Pardon me for stumbling a little bit there. Two things I'm going to have to say here. First, I will go off at tangents on this. Secondly, pardon me, if I start making facial things in here, as is covered in greater depth in other videos, I have motor neuron disease. It's progressing rapidly, and it's starting to take out the jaw as well as the arms and legs. So I'm doing the best I can here. Hi, my name is Paul Murphy. I'm also going to be going off at tangents on some of these for reasons covered in other videos. As I've covered it in there, I'm just going to try and skip through on these so there won't be too much prevarication. That was of, and this is what I'm doing here. I'm going through a long lost pile of song lyrics and my lyric booklets, and we're in 1989 here, and I now know, for the first time since I wrote it, that I wrote that song on the 10th of October 1989. And I was stumbling a little bit there also because it's got some lyric changes. The version that I took out and played on stage, I was in my stage act until, I remember I last played it, it had to be in about March or April 2000, I guess. It was pretty much in my sets all the way through there. And I remember playing one benefit concert, and there was me and another band that we were hanging around with. Well, myself in a band. I'd class myself as a band. Oh, I'm a one-man band. Leo said. Excellent song. And I just tried on the lyrics on stage. Like John Lennon, I sometimes had trouble remembering my lyrics. Not too often. My songs are very verbose, as you notice if you know my work. And I would just come up with alternate ones on the spot to go in there. And sometimes I'd rewrite songs. That night I just died. And so I went, and I was consumer education. ga 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 flabber snuff and nubbin yak junga jumpum harmonica solo and off. I'm going to cut it short now, guys. One of the only 2 times I ever died a death on stage in 1,000 shows, I guess. Well, not that many, but that was the second and last time I ever died on a stage. And that was a very popular song because there's a driving rhythm to it. So it was interesting to me to see some alternate lyrics here, how I'd changed them through it. And it's interesting to see when I wrote it as well. Right, into the next one. And this is called It's Not Always Easy to Be Free. You say your mind's made up and that it won't be changed. But don't forget the last time that you said the same. You're adamant that this time it's for real, that nothing is going to change the way you feel. Look behind you. Tell me what you see. It's not always easy being free. You can take a walk down many avenues. Take your pick from all the cards in front of you. But choose well. One chance is all you get. You might have to run with your regrets. The door's unlocked. You won't need a key. But it's not always easy to be free. Weigh up what you've got with what you want to have. You might find you want more than it's safe to have. You must do what you think will be best. But mind you don't pick what you will detest. You could be your own worst enemy, and it's not always easy being free. The moment's here now, you'd better not hesitate. Don't take too much advice and leave it all too late. The time has come and now you've got to act. Better separate the fiction from the fact. The only sentence that you'll get from me is, it's not always easy to be free. And I wrote that in Stars Lane bar on the 10th of October 1989 at 6 p.m. Again, a couple of lyric changes there. That was another one that went through these books. I've got many unused and long-lost lyrics. But some of them, obviously, well, that's a good one. I'm going to take that out, and then it would have got typed up, and then music would have been added to it. I mean, going back to, the Tudor era here. much scenery was Tudor, I can tell you that. He Tudor scenery. Grown. No, I haven't grown. I've been the same size for many years. And that's how it's typewritten, and then it would have been up and into the stage act. I'm so sorry. I have to stare at them because I'm just taking these as they come out through. Trying to make these later videos shorter than the preceding ones, where I'm doing lots and lots of introduction, but I know that some people, a lot of people, you're coming back to the videos again and you're hearing the same story about how these lyrics were lost for 30 years and found, and etc., and why I'm making these videos. But one constant I can't change is that when I turn the page and see what the next one is, if it doesn't have a title on, I have to read through the lyrics a little bit to see if it's one that has gone out and has got a title. I don't know if this one does have a title, but it seems to be called Doesn't It Make You Wonder Why? For reasons why you'll see in a minute. Just have to recalibrate my jaw. Doesn't it make you wonder why? She was always looking so hard for something, but she could never say for certain what it was. She's been searching for so long that she'd forgotten why. Doesn't it make you wonder why? Doesn't it make you wonder why? she'd had so much offered to her by so many, turned them down and turned them all away. Never gave a reason, never told them why. Doesn't it make you wonder why? Doesn't it make you wonder why? Had someone stolen from her something that she held so dear, hurt her so badly once that now she lived in fear, made her stay through some hidden private war? No one could ever say for sure. She was always on her own when she went home. It was always her choice, and she would not be moved. She'd smile and walk away, and no one would know why. Doesn't it make you wonder why? Doesn't it make you wonder why? Some interesting structures in some of these preceding ones. For instance, that one there doesn't have any obvious rhymes on the line. It's specifically and deliberately written so that it just has the word why at the end of 3 lines. Why? See? Yeah. There's no annotations on it, but it was obviously written circa the 10th of October 1989 and went no further than this book. It's not in any of my... I'm like, oh goodness me. Catching my own attention as I go on. Okay, no. So this is called, I cannot remember the copyright title of this. Interesting, there's a line missing. But I'm going to just read it out as it is. So line number 2 is missing from this song. Again, if you haven't watched any others, this is what I'm... So these are the original handwritten lyrics. This book, I always had a lyric book with me in those days. At some point I've gone past, and this is called Flawed, Britannia. I was going to talk a little bit briefly about the other ones. Of Mama's on the bread line, Daddy's in the headlights. Strange because I'm reading them, I'm trying to make them readings. But because I play that for so long, it's hard. Mama's on the headline, Daddy's bum bum bum. Anyway, so it's not always easy to be free. It's one of those. I've written lots of songs about ladies getting free of relationships, mainly from bad relationships. Don't tell me that you've changed. She's cried a million tears. The love is leaving. All that precious love is gone, etc., etc. And this is one of those where the man is kind of having the last word, and you say your mind's made up and that it won't be changed, but don't forget the last time that you said the same. So the lady said, this is over, whatever, I'm not doing this anymore, it's gone stale, I've got to move on, time's wasting, etc., etc. So sorry. These are unpleasant watching sometimes. I'm trying to make them as pleasant as possible, mainly because I'm hoping to make these videos. But the idea of these videos is that they get left behind for my children. It's not a disease you can hide, even though I'm covering my eyes up with glasses and trying to pad my shrunken body out with extra layers so you don't see. I'm just basically a head on sticks. So that song is, as I was saying, so the lady's made her case and she said, well, I'm going, it's over, it's off to that. And this time the guy's coming back and he said, yeah, but you said that to me about when the last time you ended the last relationship. Don't forget the last time that you said the same. So this is what you said to the previous guy, And you're adamant that this time it's for real, that nothing's going to change the way you feel. Look behind you and tell me what you see. It's not always easy to be free. So that's standing in the doorway, look behind you, whatever it may have been in the instance of the song, it's not a specific one, the house, the children, etc., what we've built up here and everything. And the one that followed that was, doesn't it make you wonder why? I'm wondering if those two songs were written one after the other, not only just on the same day, but literally one after the other, you know, where a third-party observer is looking at a lady. I wonder what the story there is, kind of thing. But it's very open-ended, that one, and I kind of like it. It doesn't give anything away. And this one here that I'm just about to read, Flawed, Britannia, well, let's read it first. So, and I really cannot remember what the copyright title of this is. I only ever sang it live once, and that was in an Irish bar it was just outside of Winchester. No, I can't think of it. Not Worthy Down, it was the other way from there. I'm doing this in, you know, I'm trying to describe to you what I can picture in my mind, you know, about the train station being there. Anyway, I will read it as it's written here, and the title is here, Flawed, Britannia. To some it will be just another story. To others it will be a tale of glory. But I wonder, what does it mean to you? Can you still now recall your feelings as they took you from the places you lived? Do you know every question that they asked you and confessions that you were forced to give? Did you think that God no more existed, that you were abandoned and alone, as you stood and pleaded your innocence and watched your pleas land on ears of stone? Do you still see the faces of the jury and the judges in the boxes where they sit? And can you, in your hearts, forgive them 15 years for crimes you did not commit? Where then the grand ethics of justice? Did Britannia shatter as she fell? Can there ever be a worse crime than innocence inside a prison cell? Did time ever once lose its meaning? Did you resign yourself to your fates? Or did you every day dream of sunrise that lay far beyond the prison gates? How did you survive your situation, forgetting all the things taken away? Could there ever be a compensation? What price can thieves of freedom hope to pay? 15 years of lost loved ones in your arms. That bit home with me, and I will leave it under that title, Flawed, Britannia. So that song was written in October 1989, sometime after the 10th, circa the 10th of October 1989. You'd need to Google this, but briefly, I think where that song came from was in the 70s. There were some heinous crimes committed in this country and in another country. There were bombs going off and innocent people were being killed, slaughtered, blown up. People who just went out for a drink. And this also happened in Ireland as well. People were tracked down, arrested, gave confessions. I say the word gave in inverted commas. Went to jail, served prison sentences. And it was a miscarriage of justice. They were innocent of what they were accused of, convicted of, and this is one of the instances where they were set free. Finally, the verdict was overturned. Being an Irishman, there's not anything to do with why I wrote that song. There's injustices on all sides of every conflict. So I'm just highlighting the injustice there and not the political landscape behind it. But it's got a resonance to me today, as I've read that now for the first time in I don't know how many decades. As I say, I did sing it once, But it's awkward on these things. As the artist and the songwriter, you have to put the stuff out there, the information out there, and if anyone wants to come along and document my work at some later date, they need this information to work off of. Other people just find it interesting, I know from the lovely message you sent me. What's this one about? What's that one about? And you end up doing the old Bob Dylan joke, you know. What's that song about? It's about 11 minutes, you know. But I have recently, due to my illness, had my children taken away from me purely because I'm dying. By the time they watch this, if they watch this, Dylan and Emily, I mean, you know what you've been told. I know that, but you've been also told a bunch of complete utter rot, which you know full well because the story's changed 5 times. Yeah, and it's very strange that they're school friends. I still see them sometime. You know, they come around sometimes and pay me a visit with their parents. And send me text messages, how you doing, Paul, and everything. And God bless you, Chloe. By the time you watch this, you will be, what, 22, I guess, you know. So, you know. Well, you might be 18, I don't know. My solicitor is due to release this material, and my solicitor, I'm a new solicitor actually today. Man, if you're dying and you've got no next of kin and you're thinking about nominating a solicitor as an executor, don't think twice, think 30 times. Anyway, so reading that song, that really had some resonance to me. You know, my poor children and I, again, we committed no crime. The only crime I committed was I got ill. And the courts, instead of saying, I mean, you know, you always think, well, you know, there's got to be more to it than that. It's like the Pete Best sacking from the Beatles, and after 60 years now, I guess, people are still going, there's got to be more than that. No, there is no more to it than that. I got ill. The only more to it than that is, you can't see it, but it's like that. It is. I mean, it's all in the songbooks. As we sent in 22 pages of evidence on my behalf, and they sent it back unread. It's a little compliment slip from Peterborough Crown Court came in and it said, we do not accept evidence in this format, because there was video of certain injuries in there as well as photographs. So, well then don't pass the verdict, come back to me and say we don't accept it in this format. I got it back after the case. And I thought, well, how can you know, again, you know, wrong colour skin. So I'm going to make that 2 songs. So there's the original song here, Flawed, Britannia, which I'm now updating to be about my children. And then there's the one that was finished, because this is, as I say, got a line missing. And a few lines were rejigged. And the copyrighted version that exists. And that will be the one there. It was kind of, you know, it doesn't name anything in there. The template for a song like that is, of course, the Majestic Percy song by Bob Dylan. And again, you're not entirely sure what the song is about. What's the crime? I mean, there's a bit more specifics in his, you know, but as it says, that 99 years he just don't deserve. And so, you know, that's kind of the, if there's a template for that kind of song, you know, I mean, Dylan did feel like that. I Should Be Released, of course, but I mean, that's a more basic one. But David Crosby, the great David Crosby, the recently passed David Crosby. I mean, he had what? He had like 15 stents in his heart and he died. You all know the great David Crosby, yeah. But I think he was like 80 when he died or something. And I'm going to die at 61. I don't drink or smoke or take drugs, you know. So it's a strange old road, isn't it? You know, that roulette wheel of life, man. I sometimes feel I never even had the ball to throw in there when it was spinning, let alone it land in the right slot. David Crosby, when he was in jail for his issues, which must have been at the same time as I was writing this song, 1989, I guess. He said that he'd scrawled the walls of Bob Dylan's "I Shall Be" released on the inside of his cell. What on earth does that say? Oh, saw you. I thought it said sang you. See, at one point here, so I've written the song, and then at some point after I've done this, and it must have all been done after the songbook was filled up because they're all the way through, I'd gone through, seeing what I could take out of it to use elsewhere, noted that they didn't have titles on, and I've just got some post-it notes, or sticky notes over there, and I've just gone through and just literally thought of all the titles all in one go and plonked them on. Many of them still do not have titles. So this one was always, I guess, obviously called "Saw You." So, saw you. Saw you when you had nothing. Saw you when you had it all. Saw you when you were standing blindfold against the wall. Saw you in the moonlight. Saw you in the storm. Saw you when you were burning the bodies to keep warm. Saw you the day after forever. Saw you again after that. Saw you when you were riding high. Knew that it would all go flat. Saw you leaning by the back door. Saw you walk into the night. Saw someone come out from the shadows. Ask you if you had a light. Saw you when you were aimless. Saw you when you were strong. Saw you lose your sense of direction. Wondered how you'd get along. Saw you when you were changing. Saw you let it all come through. Saw you wearing many colours. Could not say which one was you. Saw you when you were shining. Saw you when it all turned bad. Saw you when you were reconciled to losing everything you ever had. Saw you when you were struggling. Saw you when you were a success. Saw you when you were wallowing in the shallow trappings of success. And my recollection of that is, I knew that one. That was another one that went through. There's certainly, it must be a one-track mono. There's certainly a one-track mono demo of that. So I kept in the original mistaken lyric there, which the last verse. Saw you when you were struggling. Saw you when you were in distress. Saw you when you were wallowing in the shallow trappings of success. Is the oh goodness me. There's more to it. Shall I go back to the start? Okay. Take two. Saw you. Saw you when you had nothing. Saw you when you had it all. Saw you when you were standing blindfold against the wall. Saw you in the moonlight. Saw you in the storm. Saw you when you were burning the bodies to keep warm. Saw you the day after forever. Saw you again after that. Saw you when you were riding high. Knew that it would all go flat. Saw you leaving by the back door. Saw you walk into the night. Saw someone come out from the shadows. Ask you if you had a light. Saw you when you were aimless. Saw you when you were strong. Saw you lose your sense of direction. Wondered how you'd get along. Saw you when you were changing. Saw you let it all come through. Saw you wearing many colours. Could not say which one was you. Saw you when you were shining. Saw you when it all turned bad. Saw you when you were reconciled to losing everything you ever had. Saw you when you were struggling. Saw you when you were a success. Saw you when you were wallowing in the shallow trappings of success. Saw you when you were learning. Saw you find your way around. Saw you when you had lost it. It's a very long way down. Saw you when you were weary. Saw you try to close the gate. Saw you try to sit upon the fence, but devotion never lets you wait. Saw you come to your decisions, saw you come to your control, saw you when it was retreating after taking so very high a toll. Saw you suffer from the blindness, saw you slowly learn to hate, saw you when you were tired with the game and left it poised in stalemate. Just going ahead to see if the next one. The next one has actually got man, my songs have got so many words in them. They're not songs for someone in my condition to be having to try recite here. I'd obviously thought the next one was going to be even longer because I left a blank page behind it. This is called In Anger's Subtle Spell. I'm so sorry, bear with me just a second. In anger's subtle spell, the distant harps play unknown tunes, while in the bedroom danger looms. See wings silhouetted against the moon, someone's lips have got your name on. Curses muttered beneath the breath of fools who spent the glory of death and promote it until... I'm going to have to go back to the start again. 2, 3, 4. In anger's subtle spell, the distant harps play unknown tunes, while in the ghetto danger looms. See wings silhouetted against the moon, someone's lips have got your name on. Curses muttered beneath the breath of fools who spout the glory of death and promote it until there's nothing left except the reason land they can claim on. Mothers shake their heads in disbelief, expressing fake parental grief upon learning that their sons are thieves, the victims are unmentioned. Heads hung in false displays of shame, as if to somehow share the blame, or perhaps the fleeting taste of fame in the spotlight of attention. Follow fashion, stand in line, let someone else make up your mind and profit from it at the same time. What does it feel like to be exploited? Professors lecture on violence to a there-to-be-seen audience who knows that it's all just pretense, but they still give an ovation. Society waits for another trend to take up and impress its friends, to embrace it first and then condemn. No wonder that you're going nowhere. Churches preach morality and promise immortality, but why should heaven be free to anyone who wants to go there? Elected politicians vow that they'll improve your life somehow, but if you say you want it now, they treat you as a threat to society. I'm not going to make it because I'm on 33 minutes here. Okay, and I really need to rest my jaw in any case. I've been Paul Murphy. You've been wonderful. Please come back and join me again, even though I can't see you in person. Knowing you're there, I love your company.